Hello, everybody out there in Punk for the Homeless Land. We hope you're doing all right wherever you are. Today on Desert Island Vids, we have the Luddite Collective, been great supporters of Punk for the Homeless in the past, and it's great to be able to talk to them today. Hello.
All right.
Hiya. So we've got two Danis on our hands, haven't we? So how should we differentiate you?
I'm Dani Graves or Dani G.
Yeah, and Dani Scum.
Dani Scum. All right. We've got Dani Scum and Dani Graves.
It's actually a bit of a joke because the last member was also Dani. So there's no joke going around saying you don't have to be called Dani to be in the band, but it helps.
Well, it must help. It must save on like printing as well, mustn't it? Just printing the one name and stuff. Anyway, let's jump straight in. What is the Luddite Collective?
Oh, Luddite Collective is just that collective. On one hand, it's a band where we play anarcho-industrial punk, which is basically electronic beats with punk, hardcore style punk vocals / anarcho style punk vocals. But the flip side of that is we also, try and set up a community where we help out people who need it. Try and set up a place where people collect food and things like that for free, which is slow going, but we're slowly getting there. There's us two, as you know, in the band. There's QS does a lot of behind the scenes work with a lot of the rules with artwork and things like that. Anything else?
No, it's
People to collaborate with.
Yeah,
it's quite a big thing.
Okay, so what do you do? What do you do, Dani Scum? You play the bass, don't you?
I play bass. So we jointly write lyrics. We both do vocals on. Well, Dani does most of the vocals, but I do backing vocals or joint vocals on a couple of tracks.
But you write lyrics together.
Yeah, write the lyrics, and Dani will do his bit, and then I'll put my bass line to it. So.
Okay, and what kind of things do you write about? What inspires you?
My inspiration, the world, music. Like sometimes I'll be listening to various bands. I mean, in the last one I wrote, I was listening to Oi Polloi, and I was just like, do you know what? Just things sort of twig in my head, and just get some lyrics down, or sometimes like the state of the world. Or I mean, I wrote one just because I was at a gig and there's so many pompous people, so I just wrote a track about stop being pompous and stop being a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Could you give us an example? A pompous example?
Well, it was it was just this person. She's usually known for being quite feminist and that, but because her mate was being lechy, she wasn't calling up on it or out like that. So that just really pissed me off, to be fair.
And so she immortalised her shame in a song.
Yeah. A lot of those lyrics come from social commentary or very political lyrics. Write a lot of lyrics trying to highlight the problems us queer people face on a daily basis. As someone kindly put it last time I spoke to somebody, put us as pro-queer, anti-fan, extremely pissed off. I thought it was quite fitting.
Yeah, because I noticed at one of your gigs, I picked up some of your stickers, and I keep saying it wrong, but is it all punks? No, most punks are queer? No, please, you say it, because I get it wrong every time.
Punks are queer, get over it is the full thing.
Yeah.
On the pride flags.
That's it. Some punks are queer, get over it.
Yeah,
we like that. I like that. I'm up for that one. And so, what sort of problems as well? Can I say as gay men? What sort of problem have you come across, or are you gay men? I don't know. Not that it matters.
I call myself queer because I don't really. I'm more towards asexual. I don't really find people attractive as a person. It's more personalities. But me personally, being a queer person, I've been quite open about being a queer person since my teens. I've had my nose broken just for holding a person's hand. Someone at work found out I was queer and sanitised the entire place at work and wouldn't let me touch anything. Some Queers of Punk actually comes from a particular well-known gay scene, not want to put names out there, got really funny about the gay community being there because they didn't want to cause any trouble. But, you know, it's one of the few places where we could feel safe. So that's where the Some Queers of Punk come from. And then further on, we added Some Punks Are Queer because we later found out that we've had some promoters that really like the political side of things. But like, could you leave your queer shit at home? Like, no, mate, not happening. So that's where the whole idea came from, really.
It's a ridiculous request, actually, isn't it?
It is, yeah. More thankfully, but it's happened.
Can you leave most of what you are at home, please?
No.
Well, I found because I struggle. I don't really understand what non-binary means.
It's somebody. I'm trying to say this in a way that isn't offending anybody, because it's basically somebody who isn't the gender they're assigned at birth. I personally have no gender. Me personally, do you know what I mean? I've got no gender. I'm neither male nor female. So that's where I come into it. But it can be anyone who, however they find themselves. It's more complicated, but the easiest way is basically someone who isn't the gender that was assigned at birth.
Okay. Because I've always been confused with it myself, because I consider myself bi. And saying queer seems absolutely fine to me. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to fit.
I say queer because I don't know, I couldn't sum myself up with just one of the umbrella terms. So it's like queer suits.
Yeah, queer's always good, and I mean, another aspect of the non-binary like myself. So I'm gender non-conformist. So it's like, obviously you've got the archetypes of male and female, and I say fuck all that shit and just be myself.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll do that comes across more feminine or more masculine, but I just rather just be myself and than defined by either one.
Yeah, I agree, because I found it quite a lonely space, because I wasn't quite understood by the gay community, and I wasn't quite understood by the straight community. So it's like, and it wasn't until my friend Ian said to me, Alton, we go to all these clubs and we do all these things, and then you come home with a girl. It's like, I saw no problem with that. I didn't have an issue with it.
I'm sure that's all that matters, you know. I mean, I was pretty lucky being brought up in Brockwood. I mean, I didn't understand what I was growing up because we didn't talk about non-binary, gender-neutral people, you know. So I spent times. Well, I know I'm not male, so perhaps I'm female. So I tried that for a while. And I went, no, this isn't right either. What on earth's going on? And then someone sat to me and went, by the way, you could be this. Oh, that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm honest, sorry, I butted in. Sorry, Dani. I think I fall in love with personality, personally.
Same here.
Yeah.
Oh, what a lovely interview. Thank you. What's your first choice of videos? Being a music show and all that?
Right.
Do you go first?
I'll go first. Right. So my first one I picked was Demi Nazgul, Ilya, Mother of Death. So I picked these up quite recently. It was like a Spotify suggested, and I was really impressed. It's like really gritty doom, but like with Lord of the Rings feel and feminism thrown in. It was really impressive. It just really took my breath away.
Nice.
And the check of that trolls, and there's actually the percussion in it is done with a Dane axe.
Excellent. Jeeves the hooligan to be into that. What about you, Mr. Danny Graves?
For me, I'd say Amanda Palmer, Ukulele Anthem, quite simply because it's just one of those tracks what I pick up so much from. You know, it's just a silly song playing ukulele, saying something like, if Sid Vicious played ukulele, maybe he would have killed his girlfriend. You know, questionable, but further into that, what I get from that is, it basically talks about, it doesn't matter if you're not good at something, just do it anyway and have fun with it. You know, I get so many people going, I'd love to be in a band, but I'm not very good at it. I said, well, I can't sing for toffee, but you don't stop me. I pick up my phone and shout my lungs out, as you know yourself.
Yeah.
You know, people can't draw, but they'll do art. Just do it and see how fun it is. The other thing I get from it is it's okay to be different. You know, it's these stupid things like eat your Fruit Loops with a fork. You know, just be different. Don't be afraid of it. Do something you're rubbish at, but enjoy it. And I just think it's fantastic words and something to live by, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I listened to a snippet of that earlier. I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of that. But yeah, I think being different is what gives the world its colour.
Yeah,
Definitely.
If we're all the same, you know, it's like, let's all go and paint everybody's living room blue.
yeah.
So we all have blue living rooms. How awful would that be?
Yeah, it's varieties of spice of life, so to say, isn't it? So
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
even now to be normal.
One of the songs that I do remember quite clearly from your show was "We Just Want to Hold Hands."
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a bit.
I found that incredibly powerful.
Well, I wrote that because it's like 1/3 of people in the LGBTQ plus community are too afraid to hold their partner's hand in public, and rightfully so. I mean, like I say, I got my nose broken for holding my partner's hand. I've seen lesbian couples get sexualized and get all sorts of disgusting things thrown at them because it's sexy, and yeah, it's horrible. It's a horrible thing to do, and it's such a simple thing to hold your partner's hand, and it's not quite instinctive to do. But when you're with someone that's not a society scene norm, it's dangerous, you know. And I just like to highlight that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I've heard about so much horrible stuff. You know, people taking air rifles out, shoot. You know, all sorts of horrible things. And of course, it wasn't that long ago that not all of this, that it was illegal, was it? We were looking at death
it's still illegal in
or
some
imprisonment.
countries,
yeah,
including public executions in some parts of the world, and it's just such a
Yeah,
terrifying.
still, yeah, absolutely, and I can't say we can't allow it, but we have to fight against it. We've got to.
yeah.
Exactly.
We've got. All right, because you've got 6 vids. What's your next ones?
Next one is Soften the Glare, March of the Cephalopods. It's a fantastic instrumentals. I mean, it's Ryan Martini on bass, and he's definitely one of my bass playing idols. He's just fantastic. I can't remember his name, but it's also the guitarist from Bongzilla as well. So they got together, and it's sort of funk, rock, prog, jazz fusion. It's insane.
Sounds
But
nice.
it's brilliant just to listen to.
I'd listened to it earlier because I heard it before.
Yeah.
I was like, this is interesting.
And your second one, Danny?
Work, Rest, Play, Die, Love and Cheer, right, by Subhumans, because me wanting to front the band. I hate using that term, but being the vocalist in the band, it's all Dickie's fault from Subhumans. It really is.
Okay.
Back in the early teens, in Bradford, a friend of mine went, "Oh, you need to come and watch Subhumans play live," because we're into punk anyway. I mean, it's hard not to be into punk in Bradford. It's one of those things. And so I went to watch Subhumans play live, and just the way Dickie was on stage, you know, it was all about. He just had this magic on him on stage. He was just like in his scruffy clothes, just being himself and just holding the audience and just telling people just to be yourselves, forget what the world thinks, you know, have fun, have a good time, and fuck the world and fuck the government. Don't listen to the bullshit. And I'm like, that's what I want to do right there, you know. And it was just ever since that moment I've been either being in bands as a vocalist or being in the background playing synth, you know. It's all Dickie's fault.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll be happy to hear that. You said earlier that the Luddite, it's a collective, and it's not just about the music. You do charity work as well and outreach work, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. We've helped, like I say, as you know, we help out for the homeless as much as possible.
Absolutely.
We've got a charity team with us. Unfortunately, I had a chance to take it to a gig yet, but we have got a charity team when we do get to a gig with it. We help out a charity called Beat Cancer a lot because we've both lost way too many people to that dreaded thing. So we do a lot of work. We've done a lot of work for them with gigs and raising money and stuff. And we don't really get paid much anyway, so we do it for all the music. But any charity that we agree with or as a good cause, even if we don't stand it, we'll play for free without question. And if we're selling merch, all that money from merch goes straight to the charity. We don't want anything. We just want to turn up, play, give what money we can.
Yeah.
You know, because we live in a world where the people who should be doing something, i.e. our government, are just doing nothing, or as little as they can get away with. So it comes down to people stepping in and saying, look, we need to do something. And like I said, we sit with what the collective in it, because that's who we are. Like I said, there's us two on stage. There's people who we adjacent with who do stuff. There's people who help out with making music for us in the background. If we're, for example, 3.0 is Ben from Petrol Bastard, did all the music for that. We did the vocals and Dani did bass. All sorts like that, really. And like I say, we're working on an outreach thing. It's taking years because there's lots of red tape and hoops to jump through and Ben used to get hold of. But the idea behind that is, you know, with food banks or help with anything, you have to fit pigeonholes. And I always found myself just outside the pigeonhole. I was either too young, too old, not alcoholic, too much of an alcoholic, etc. so forth. And I just went somewhere where there's no paperwork. You walk in like it's a shop, pick up what you need, and walk out the door. We're aiming for food. But to start, we want food and clothing, hygiene products, nappies. And eventually, if we get enough around, try and get councillors to volunteer and work with us. That's the plan. It's definitely
like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back at the moment. We sort of get a venue and then things go wrong with that, and then getting food licenses and it's.
And obviously with the pandemic, we just can't do anything. Like so we just say, going,
Yeah.
So,
it is a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of admin, isn't it, to help someone? Do you come across like licenses need to be paid, fees need to be paid?
I need a food hygiene certificate.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest loophole to get through, because if I get a food hygiene certificate, I can then have a local clinic on with one food, which in freezing cold in winter, it's a lifesaver to people on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, almost myself, I know what it's like. So,
well,
you know,
I'm sure I'll send you a link if I find it, but I'm sure local councils can give you free certificates. You know, you have to do the study, but you don't have to pay for the course. Yeah, if I find the link, I'll send it to you, Dani. Not saying you need it or want it, but I'll send it anyway. Okay, let's have your third choice.
Third choice was Devin Townsend's Spirits Will Collide. So it's off his latest album, Empath. And I thought it was a really good track live. But then on the album, when I saw him live, it was like a proper, really stripped down version. And it brought a tear to my eye. It was so powerful and moving. I mean, the song's all about mental health and just remembering, remember you are loved, remember to love. It's like the whole message behind it. It's just there's people around you to help you see through it as long as you can reach out to them. Because sometimes that's part of the problem with mental health problems. You feel isolated and self-contained, and you struggle to sort of reach out. I absolutely love that track, and like I said, it really brought it home seeing it live as well.
Nice one. Yeah, Dani?
It's a track by Complications. It was hard to choose a track by Complications because it's just one of those bands you just press play on and you can just listen to it constantly, you know. So I just looked for, I found one official video, so we'll go with that for Apathy. And as Dani knows, I am obsessed with Complications. When I first heard them, I was like, what is this? Because it's very, very punk. It's the riff you expect, it's that voice you expect, the attitude you expect. But it's a guy who drums, one guy vocals, and then another person who plays analog synths, and that's it. There's the mini moog in there, and it's just so catchy and such an amazing band. It's like anything by Complications I highly recommend listening to. You know, but I thought I'd go with Apathy because that's an official video, which doesn't happen that often in punk. So yeah, that's my third choice really. It's music is good to listen to, good to dance to, good to shout along to, you know.
Fantastic. And we'll list all those vids with this div, so people can listen to those at their leisure. Should we talk about mental health? We've got a little bit of time left. Do you want to talk? Should we talk about mental health slightly? or not at all?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Something I shout quite loudly about online. A friend of ours quite rightly puts mental health shouting in capital letters and writes about mental health. And I'm like, do you mind if I do that? So I write about mental health anyway. I like the fact you put mental health shouting as it's when I'm going quiet. You know, I mean, it's no secret to anyone who knows me. I spent time with me. I've got a lot of mental health issues. We have borderline personality disorder, anxiety, and a bunch of other things. And I've had some pretty big breakdowns over the last few years. Tried to take my life a few times, you know. Thankful for Dani and QSC who both live in this house who have literally saved my life, in all honesty. I'm blessed because not everyone has that. You know, my biggest problem with mental health is, as I'm sure you're aware yourself, is how difficult it is to get help. I was put in a high risk priority, and that was 18 months. And I've seen some horrible, horrible people, and I've had to fight tooth and nail with everyone's help to get to see anybody. And there's a place in Manchester called McCartney House, and anybody who gets recommended there is lucky because that place is amazing. Hats off to those. I mean, I got all the help in the world there, and you know, and it's amazing. But it's sad that mental health isn't talked about enough, in my opinion. It's a lot of stigma behind it, and especially with men. You know, I lost one of my closest friends to suicide, hanged himself, you know, because he couldn't get help. And it's sad, it really is, you know.
It certainly is. I mean, I might be a shade older than you two. I'm 55, and I was trawling through the mental health system from the age of 20. And I was given the honorary title of personality disorder, and I didn't even know what they were telling me. I didn't even understand the diagnosis.
No, now you're giving them what? Well, I'm like, oh, it actually makes sense. Yeah, I'm 37, I think. Are you confusing me on the age? I think I'm 37. But I've been in and out of the system since my teens. So yeah.
Because I still come across people saying to me, "Why don't you get over it?" And it's look, I'm 55. Don't you think I would have got over it by now?
I really genuinely wish it was that easy. I mean, I haven't been able to work because of that, and I've been diagnosed with something called transient amnesia. We think is mental health related, but we aren't sure. We're still working out what's going on with it. But what that basically is, and I go to amnesia, I was terrified. But what that basically is I can have blackouts where I can go around as normal, but I have chunks of time missing.
Yeah.
And it's scary because I can be sat downstairs watching TV, and in what feels like the blink of an eye, I'm suddenly in a different place altogether, not knowing where I am, and hours have passed. I'm like, it's terrifying, you know.
I've been there. I have been there. Fortunately, I say fortunately, with my alcoholism, I experienced a lot of blackouts, and so when they started happening to me without alcohol, it was almost as if I'd had training.
I get that. I've drunk a lot over the years, not anymore. But
I laugh, but it isn't funny.
No, but we have to laugh about it, don't we, sometimes? But 3 years we've been having tests and experiments now to see what is causing the blackouts, because it's dangerous, you know. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, I could talk about mental health and other things forever because it's my quite passionate about, as Dani knows.
I mean, it's always been connected to a lot of shame, isn't it? You know, if you must be weak, you must be this, you must be that if you've got a mental health problem, and it's like, well, no, I am just who I am.
I mean, like I said, it's the shame about it. It's something that needs to get going. I mean, things like, is it Andy's Men's Club? Yeah, I mean, they're specifically sort of targeting men mental health because I mean, suicide is the highest killer of like middle-aged men, isn't it, in the UK? Because it's culturally not acceptable to talk about your feelings because that's the way we British stiff upper lip and that. So it's trying to break that down, and I mean, it needs to break down because it is a killer, and
it comes back to this being different, doesn't it? Like the social, like we know that girls have social programming. They have to have pink, they have to have a pram, they have to have a dolly, and the same happens for men, doesn't it? I believe.
Yeah,
Right.
it's always been the shoulders to cry on, and like I said, the stiff upper lip, and I just mean, as men were told not to express our feelings, I mean, it is toxic, quite
Well,
literally.
I still meet men who consider if you're in the arts that you're not doing a job. If
Yeah,
you're not slinging a sledgehammer or digging a hole.
yeah,
Women's work, yeah. Yeah. The other thing for mental health I like to pass people is don't settle for a bad therapist. I've had my fair share of years. I settled with it because that's what I thought. If I get with this therapist, that's me stuck for years without a therapist, which sometimes is true, but a bad therapist can be more detrimental than good. I mean, I had a therapist, literally I turned up, I was a right mess. You know, I got told to go there by an emergency psychiatrist, it was that bad. And we sat down for 10 minutes and he just slammed a book on the table and congratulations, you're not insane now, fuck off, word for word. And I was like,
Yes.
yeah, and I've had some terrible, terrible people. I mean, I've had countless therapists over the years, and I think I've had two that are decent.
Mm.
Without yourself, some of the people I've dealt with, and I'm like,
yeah. I mean,
no.
Yeah. So be comfortable with your counsellor or your therapist.
yeah.
Well,
Like I say,
an important message I think I've got as someone who's received counselling, therapy, God knows what else, is don't bother trying to play games with them. You're just wasting your own time.
yeah.
Well,
Be,
like
be
I
as
said,
honest as you can.
definitely. Like I said, McCartney House was a godsend. It really was. I mean, a bit closer at first. Like I said, I've had a lot of therapists. Once I started speaking to my therapist there, we were doing CAT therapy, which is actually on the wall there, which helps me a lot. I was so open and honest from quite early on. Actually, I was quite surprised myself. But I've always been honest because you're there to get help, you know.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like people get told, men don't cry, men don't show feelings, except anger. Anger's okay for some reason, etc. So forth. When I'm like, really, this is no. I mean, we've lost people to suicide, and you know, and just people who just can't handle anything and just take life because that's the only option. And I get that across to people. It's not a sign of weakness. It's the only option sometimes. I mean, I certainly felt like that.
Yeah.
You know, having scars and this, that, and the other, and I've tried to take my life so many times, and it's one of those things. I mean, we recently wrote a track called "Too Many Times." It's talking about how many times I've been in this situation and somehow got out the other side without knowing how I survived. And then there's that confliction of I'm glad I'm alive, but at the same time, I'm more ill because I feel like a failure again because I failed to set my own life. And part from getting into that, you felt like a failure in the first place, and it's just like a constant loop. You know?
Yeah, and
So
it is. It's just, it almost devours you, doesn't it?
it does.
The
It's
thinking.
hard to get out of. It's really hard to get out of. I mean, CAT therapy. I mean, it took way too long to get to CAT therapy. I mean, I had that years ago. I mean, I can't say for definite, but I think it definitely has a lot sooner because CAT therapy is not for everybody, but it definitely worked out for me because it's you go into these loops and cycles and go, well, this is what triggers this, and this causes this, and this causes this. So then you've got a map. I've got on the map on the wall. I'm feeling like this. Look at that. And go, oh, that's leading to that. So now, how do I get out of that? And I've definitely shown some improvement. I mean, I'm not perfect. You know, I had a bit of a outburst a couple of weeks back, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. You know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we've got a few minutes left, so how should we end it? Should we talk about the radio show that's coming up?
yeah, can do.
Retaliate.
That's the one. Retaliate. It was a radio show that originally started off back in 2012-ish as a live event in Leeds, and then that stopped. And I moved to Manchester a few days later, and the radio station now closed. Says, "Would you like to retaliate as a radio show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm up for that." That went for a couple of years, and that stopped. And Pumphrey almost asked if we'd do it for you guys, and without it didn't take much questioning, to be honest. And basically, what Retaliate is it's a showcase for electronic punk bands and punk influenced electronic bands. It's a mouthful to say, because there's not a platform for it that much. So it's just a fantastic way of listening to punk music with a different soundscape. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what we're doing. I mean, I've changed it a little bit for Punk for the Homeless. I've got a small section where normally do album of the month or a spotlight where I'm dedicated to not electro punk, but bands that have played and supported Punk for the Homeless because respect, you know, they deserve a space to say thank you and, you know, keep doing the good stuff, you know. So we just finished today actually recording the new intro and outro with Percy Berman, who I absolutely love. Which you, I think to make sure it was okay and stuff. And funny enough, Complications that were recommended earlier, I discovered them thanks to Retaliate.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking for bands to play and the usual searches. And went, who are these? Never heard of these. Pressed play. I'm like, yeah, hooked. It's a good community as well because, like, you meet so many people, you can find so many bands and so many really decent people. I mean, Decide Today, who played with us in Nottingham Punk for the Homeless. Played them a few times afterwards and stuff, and it's just great fun, you know.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. We're gonna broadcast it on Wednesday. Is it the 6th? Yeah, going out May the 6th, 8 o'clock on the. I believe on the Punk for the Homeless page, and we're just proliferate with links and things.
Yeah, every Wednesday, 8 till 9. We're in lockdown, so I'll try his best to get money raised for Punk for the Homeless, and you know, it'd be interesting.
Street kids.
It'd be quite interesting to have a different audience as well, because you know, so those street kids definitely do, especially right now with the pandemic. You know, it's
and it's why we're here, gentlemen. So it's brought some things together, and let's hope the electro brings the scene together a bit closer, because I love electro.
It's the same. I mean, I was brought up around punk and industrial music, so hence why Luddite Collective ended up the way it did. You know, it's nice to bring the two together, you know.
Absolutely. Well, Dani Scum and Danny Graves, the Luddite Collective, thank you very much. It's been, what haven't we covered? And don't forget to check out their divs. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
Brilliant. Cheers.